Have you ever wondered what happens to places when everyone suddenly disappears? Imagine walking through streets frozen in time, where children's toys lay untouched, classrooms sit empty, and entire cities echo with memories of lives abruptly interrupted. From the desolate Ferris wheel of Pripyat to the crumbling halls of Waverly Hills, these abandoned places are more than ruins. They are haunting reminders of humanity's fragility. Each building, every shadow, carries a story, a whisper of someone who once lived, laughed, and feared. Join me as we step into the silence and uncover the chilling truths of the world's most abandoned places. If you love exploring haunted and abandoned places, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the Ghost Hunt family. 1. Pripyat, Chernobyl, Ukraine. Pripyat, once a bustling city in northern Ukraine, now stands as one of the scariest abandoned places in the world. Evacuated overnight in 1986 after the catastrophic Chernobyl nuclear disaster, the city was left frozen in time. Its buildings, streets, and playgrounds silently narrating the stories of the people who once lived there. Walking through Pripyat feels like stepping into a living memory, a place where the echoes of the past mingle with an unsettling present. The moment you enter, the emptiness hits first. Rusted Ferris wheels stand motionless against the gray sky. Playgrounds are littered with toys and broken swings, and classrooms still hold old textbooks, yellowed with age. Every corner whispers the lives that were abruptly abandoned, the laughter of children, the daily routines, the unfulfilled dreams. It's hauntingly human, because you don't just see destruction. You feel absence, loss, and sudden silence. One explorer shared his experience during a 2019 visit. As I walked into the theater, the chairs were thickly coated with dust. Suddenly, I felt like someone invisible was watching me from the stage. It was unnerving. Not because of a ghost, but because the city itself seemed alive with memories. The city's abandoned hospital is equally chilling. Long, narrow corridors echo the faintest footsteps. Visitors have reported hearing doors creak and close on their own, though no one else is inside. The air feels thick, heavy, as if the past refuses to let go. Classrooms, once vibrant with energy, still hold scribbles and drawings, remnants of children's imaginations trapped in time. Perhaps the most iconic and eerie landmark is Pripyat's Ferris wheel. Standing silent and rusting, it seems to wait eternally for a day that will never come. An explorer once recounted, "As I approached the Ferris wheel, a gust of wind created a strange creaking sound, almost like it was moving by itself. My heart raced, and for a moment, it felt like I was not alone. When I turned around, the streets were empty. It was just me and the city." What makes Pripyat truly terrifying isn't just its decay. It's the human stories behind the abandonment. Families were forced to leave their homes instantly, leaving behind everything: memories, possessions, and hopes. The city's emptiness is a mirror of human vulnerability, reminding us how fragile life can be when confronted with disaster. As you walk its silent streets, Pripyat evokes a mix of fear, sadness, and awe. It's a chilling reminder that nature, time, and catastrophe can erase human presence almost overnight. Yet, amid the desolation, the city tells a story of resilience, a story that lives on in photographs, documentaries, and the memories of those who dared to explore it. Visiting Pripyat is more than a thrill. It's a journey into history, human emotion, and suspense. Every corner, every abandoned object, every echoing step creates a feeling that stays long after you leave. Pripyat doesn't just scare, it teaches, warns, and humbles. For anyone seeking to understand the true essence of abandoned places, this frozen city is the ultimate destination. A city where the past refuses to fade. 2. Hashima Island, Japan. Battleship Island. Off the coast of Nagasaki, Japan, lies Hashima Island, better known as Battleship Island. Once a thriving coal mining hub, It was home to thousands of workers and their families. By 1974, when coal production ceased, the island was abandoned, almost overnight, leaving behind towering concrete buildings, crumbling streets, and a silence that still echoes across the wind-swept island. Today, Hashima stands as one of the most mysterious and scariest abandoned places in the world. Walking onto the island, the first thing you notice is its shape, a dense, jagged, concrete silhouette that resembles a battleship anchored in the sea. From a distance, it looks eerily majestic. Up close, it feels like stepping into a time capsule frozen in despair. The buildings are tall, skeletal remnants of apartment blocks where entire families once lived. Now, windows are shattered, hallways are dark, and the air smells faintly of salt and rust. Visitors often share that the silence is almost deafening. One explorer described it. The wind carried strange echoes as I walked past the apartment blocks. Every creak of the floorboards sounded amplified, almost like whispers of the families that once lived here. I could feel eyes watching me, though I was utterly alone. Hashima's abandoned school remains particularly haunting. Chalkboards are blank, but dust-covered desks are lined as if waiting for students who will never return. Children's shoes and forgotten toys still lie in corners, a tangible reminder of lives interrupted. There's a surreal quality to it, human presence frozen in time, yet completely absent. Perhaps the most unsettling experience is exploring the corridors of the former workers' quarters. Narrow hallways twist in strange patterns, and crumbling staircases seem to lead nowhere. During a 2018 exploration, a visitor reported, "I turned a corner and saw a shadow pass across the hallway. For a moment, my heart stopped. There was no one there, just the fading echoes of Hashima itself, like the island remembered its past inhabitants." Hashima Island isn't just abandoned. It's a story of industrial ambition and human endurance, now overtaken by nature and silence. Moss and weeds crawl over concrete walls, and birds nest in broken windows. The island feels alive in its own eerie way, as though every stone holds the weight of memory and sorrow. For the global audience, Hashima captivates not only because of its ghostly aura, but also its history. It symbolizes the rise and fall of industrial cities and the impermanence of human achievement. Walking along its crumbling docks, it's easy to imagine the harsh lives of coal miners who labored tirelessly, only to leave everything behind when the industry collapsed. Visiting Hashima is an experience that mixes awe, fear, and reflection. The island doesn't rely on legends or ghosts. Its power lies in real human stories and the palpable silence of abandonment. Every creaking floorboard, every broken window, every shadow in a hallway reinforces a singular truth. This was once a city of life, now a city of ghosts. Not supernatural, but human, raw, and unforgettable. Hashima Island stands as a chilling testament to time, memory, and isolation. For anyone seeking the most unique and emotionally engaging abandoned places, this battleship-shaped island is a journey into history, suspense, and the haunting beauty of what humans leave behind. 3 Waverly Hills Sanatorium, Kentucky, USA. Deep in the forests of Kentucky, USA, stands Waverly Hills Sanatorium, a building as infamous for its history as it is for its eerie, abandoned presence. Opened in 1910 as a tuberculosis hospital, Waverly Hills became a place where thousands of patients came seeking treatment, but many never left. With the decline of tuberculosis cases and the rise of new treatments, the hospital was closed, leaving behind a labyrinth of empty halls, decaying rooms, and whispered memories. Today, it is considered one of the scariest abandoned places in the world. As you approach the massive structure, the first impression is overwhelming. Dark, looming walls, broken windows, and an atmosphere so heavy it feels almost tangible. The air carries a faint scent of damp wood and mold, mixing with the sense of decades of suffering that once filled the building. Every step you take in the main corridors echoes in the silence, a reminder of the countless patients who once walked these same floors. Visitors often recount strange feelings of unease that cannot be explained. One explorer described their experience. "I walked down the third-floor hallway, where rows of beds used to line the walls. I suddenly felt a cold chill, and for a moment, I could almost hear the coughing and whispers of the past. It was terrifying not because of ghosts, but because I could feel the weight of so many lives that had passed through this place." The hospital's most infamous area is the body chute, or death tunnel, a long underground passage once used to discreetly move deceased patients out of the building. The tunnel is narrow, pitch dark, and claustrophobic, creating a palpable sense of dread. Explorers report that simply standing there, the silence becomes deafening, broken only by the occasional drip of water or the distant echo of footsteps, whether real or imagined. In addition to the physical eeriness, Waverly Hills carries profound human stories. Nurses and doctors worked tirelessly in conditions of fear and exhaustion, often forming bonds with patients who would never see another sunrise. The walls, though decaying, seem to hold fragments of those lives, making every creaking floorboard and shadow feel intensely personal. The sanatorium is not haunted by supernatural legends alone. Its fear comes from history, human suffering, and the echo of lost lives. Explorers often report hearing faint whispers or seeing shadows out of the corner of their eye, experiences that can be explained as psychological echoes of empathy and imagination, triggered by the building's oppressive atmosphere. Walking through Waverly Hills is like stepping into a living museum of emotions. From abandoned patient rooms to empty stairwells, the sanatorium is a stark reminder of life's fragility and the endurance of human spirit in the face of disease. Every corner tells a story of hope, despair, and the haunting reality of mortality. For anyone seeking an abandoned place that blends history, human emotion, and spine-chilling suspense, Waverly Hills Sanatorium is unparalleled. It doesn't need gimmicks or fake scares. The truth of its past, frozen in crumbling walls and empty halls, is more terrifying than any ghost could ever be. 4. Beelitz-Heilstätten Hospital, Germany. Nestled in the forests outside Berlin, Germany, lies Beelitz-Heilstätten Hospital, a sprawling complex of abandoned buildings that once served as a sanatorium for tuberculosis patients and later as a military hospital during both World Wars. Today, it stands as one of the scariest and most haunting abandoned places in the world, a labyrinth of crumbling walls, shattered windows, and corridors echoing with decades of human stories. Approaching Beelitz, the first thing that strikes you is its sheer size. The buildings stretch endlessly, their facades covered in ivy and decay, as if the forest itself is trying to swallow the hospital whole. Walking through the main gate, you are immediately enveloped by a dense, oppressive silence, broken only by the occasional creak of a collapsing roof or distant bird call. The sense of history is overwhelming. Every cracked tile, every rusted pipe whispers stories of life, suffering, and secrets long forgotten. Visitors often speak of an almost physical heaviness in the air. One explorer recalled, "As I stepped into the central ward, I felt a shiver run down my spine." The floors were littered with broken medical equipment and faded charts. For a moment, I could almost hear the groans of patients, the hurried footsteps of nurses, and the whispers of doctors who had long since vanished. It was chilling, yet strangely compelling. The hospital's abandoned operating theaters and patient wards are particularly unnerving. Rusted beds remain in neat rows, surgical tools lie scattered, and walls are decorated with peeling paint and old medical notices. The experience is hauntingly human, because you realize these were once places of hope and healing, yet now they are monuments to neglect and decay. Beelitz also carries a dark military history. During World War I and II, soldiers were treated here, and the hospital became a site of intense trauma. Hidden corners and underground corridors seem to hold echoes of the past, and some visitors report feeling a presence of unseen observers, though it is the weight of history, not ghosts, that chills the spine. One of the most atmospheric experiences is exploring the overgrown courtyards and abandoned villas where staff and wealthy patients once lived. Nature is slowly reclaiming the buildings, and the mixture of decay and greenery creates a surreal, almost post-apocalyptic aesthetic. Explorers often describe it as walking through a haunted painting, alive with shadows and memories. Beelitz-Heilstätten doesn't rely on supernatural legends. Its power lies in real human stories, historical trauma, and the stark contrast between life and abandonment. Each room, corridor, and stairwell is a silent witness to decades of human struggle, hope, and despair. Visitors leave with a deep respect for the lives once intertwined with the hospital and a lasting sense of awe at the haunting beauty of decay. For anyone seeking an abandoned place that blends history, emotion, and suspense, Beelitz-Heilstätten is unparalleled. Its walls do not just tell stories, they hold them, creating an experience that is eerie, educational, and unforgettable, a true testament to the passage of time and the fragility of human life. 5. Humberstone and Santa Laura, Chile. In the heart of Chile's Atacama Desert, two abandoned towns, Humberstone and Santa Laura, stand as silent witnesses to the rise and fall of the nitrate mining industry. Once bustling with workers, families, schools, and markets, these towns were abruptly deserted as the industry collapsed in the mid-20th century. Today, they remain hauntingly empty, earning a place among the most abandoned and eerie locations in the world. The first impression upon entering Humberstone or Santa Laura is almost surreal. Rows of weathered wooden houses and decaying industrial buildings stretch endlessly under the blazing desert Sunday. Streets are cracked and sand-filled. Playgrounds are still dotted with rusting swings, and the once busy factories now loom as silent, crumbling giants. The feeling is not just one of emptiness, but of suspended life, as if the towns froze the last moments of human activity decades ago. Visitors often remark on the strange stillness that surrounds the towns. One explorer shared, "Walking through the schoolyards, I could almost imagine children running and playing, their laughter echoing faintly through the halls. But when I turned around, the streets were completely silent. It was like stepping into a memory that time had abandoned." Humberstone's former factory floors tell their own story. Rusted machinery, abandoned carts, and faded signage hint at the grueling work of nitrate extraction. The air feels heavy with history, human ambition, labor, and sacrifice etched into every corner. Even the desert wind carries a subtle whisper, as if the past residents are urging visitors to remember their lives and hardships. Santa Laura, slightly larger and more complex, offers even more haunting experiences. Narrow alleyways between worker housing, collapsed roofs, and empty community halls create a labyrinth of suspense, where every shadow and gust of wind can feel like a lingering presence. Explorers have reported sudden chills and the sensation of being watched, though logically, it is simply the power of memory and imagination brought alive by the stark environment. What makes these ghost towns truly compelling is the human stories frozen in time. Families left behind personal belongings, school desks, and even personal letters and newspapers. Walking among these remnants, visitors can sense the daily routines that once defined life here. Meals prepared, children learning, workers returning from factories, all abruptly halted by economic collapse. Humberstone and Santa Laura are not just abandoned towns. They are time capsules of human endeavor, hope, and loss. They do not rely on supernatural scares. Their power lies in reality. The towns evoke a haunting mix of nostalgia, sadness, and awe, forcing visitors to reflect on the impermanence of human achievements and the fragile nature of life. For those seeking unique, emotionally engaging, and suspenseful abandoned places, these Chilean ghost towns offer an unforgettable experience. Every creaking floorboard, empty classroom, and deserted street corner is a story waiting to be discovered, a silent witness to lives that once thrived and suddenly vanished. Humberstone and Santa Laura stand as enduring monuments to human history, resilience, and the haunting beauty of desolation.